Put us in here.
Good morning and welcome to the Sunday Morning Sports Podcast. I'm BA. I got along with me here, Jack Hirsch, and of course, Keith Engel. Hope you fellas are doing good this fine Easter Sunday. We will be talking directly about the Final Four that happened yesterday. Very good game. Well, one game was pretty good. I don't know about the other game. But, yeah. So we get right into it there. UConn 71, Illinois 62. Let me tell you something. Dan Hurley's got Illinois' number. I don't know what it is, but
he beat them. Would they beat him back in November or December? I think as well, right? We forget
late November.
Yeah, that totally different team. But the last time they won their second of two in a row national championships, they ran off a 30-0 run against Illinois. Brad Underwood is the only guy there, I think, from that team. But look at Illinois. They didn't have an answer for UConn, and UConn didn't play great. I mean, they shot 35% for the game. Karaban, I'd be worried Monday night if I'm UConn. Karaban has not been shooting well at all, and it's going to catch up with them, I'm afraid. And it might very well Monday because they're going to need him to score some points, I think. Played well, in other facets of the game, but he has shot poorly. This team just finds a way to win. They're scrappy. They're like their coach. Mm-hmm. If you ever watched Dan Hurley play at Seton Hall, he wasn't a great player, but he was scrappy. And a lot of these guys just seem to embody that same attitude as their coach. And I love it when team take on that type of attitude. A lot of fun.
Well, you talk about finding a way with UConn. I think the basketball didn't find its way for Illinois. So many missed shots going in and out, and it was kind of like one of the Illinois coaches said it best. I'm just paraphrasing. It says it was like a toilet bowl, like swirling around the shots, and it just wasn't going in. And credit UConn at the end of the game. One of the more underrated things of foul shooting at the end of the game, as far as being part of the discussion. UConn, they made their foul shots at the end of the game. They didn't quite open the door for Illinois. Illinois had a couple of runs. They get it down to 4 points. And you thought, could they actually steal this game after UConn seemed to have control basically the whole way? But UConn never quite let them get that close.
There'd be a dagger every time they'd get to three or something. They come back with a big 3-pointer and just extend that lead some more. And they had an answer every time Illinois made one of those runs. So kudos to them. Kudos to Danny Hurley. I don't think anybody at the start of this tournament, the way they've been playing, Jack, you and I talked a lot about that game against St. John's. We were talking about it just as late as Friday. Yeah. And they have shown no ill effects and they've won some close games. Kudos to them. They've just done a great job here.
Yeah, Illinois has played 37 games and failed to score 62 twice. And the team that they lost 62, they only scored 62 against was UConn. So UConn's got their number. Dan Hurley. I'm not a big Dan Hurley fan, but the dude gets results. He's gritty. He's kind of like, to me, he's kind of like Izzo. The team plays as that coach is, and they're just gritty. They just get it done. Yeah, at the end of the game. So I mean, they played a pretty good game, even though the defensive game it was a whole defensive game. Really, nothing was falling for either team for a little while. That's but that's going to happen.
Illinois really never got their offense on track through this whole tournament. Really, it was their defense that was really kind of pulling them through and doing it well. But UConn, we forget how good a program UConn is. Nobody's won as many national championships. This will be, if they were to win, they've won 6 since 1999. Nobody's won that many. And I think if they win another one, they're going to tie Carolina all time behind Kentucky, and we know who, Danny.
You can make an argument that UConn has the greatest basketball program of all time if you combine the men and the women together.
Well,
the men and the women's program against anyone else's men and women's program, you could say UConn is the greatest university of all time.
That's fair. That's fair.
And going to the next game. I mean, this game, I don't think this game was in doubt for after the first 5 minutes of the game. I have never seen Michigan just destroyed Arizona. I mean, that's the only way I can say it. They were up by 30 points at one point in the game, over 30 points one part of the game. So for a juggernaut, this is supposed to be a juggernaut competition here. And I guess only one team showed up. So
listen, yes, one team showed up. I don't diminish what Michigan did, by saying Arizona was that bad. Michigan was dominant. And, I listened to a little bit of ESPN radio this morning as I was getting ready. And, they were talking about how, it was such a stinker. This was supposed to be a late game and a great game. I said, well, it wasn't a great game, but you saw a dominant game. If you like to watch teams that are just like a machine, Michigan was a machine last night and has been, quite frankly, through this whole tournament. If they win Monday night, and it's just still an if, but it's hard to see them losing, we're going to be talking about where they stand in all-time runs. This has been one of the great runs in the NCAA tournament. It's up there with UConn's second run a few years back, and maybe one of the better ones that I've seen in my lifetime as far as runs through the tournament. I'm not saying they're the greatest team, but as far as runs through this tournament, I think they've got like the third or fourth most best point differential through this point of the tournament in history. Played great. No close games. That might be their bugaboo, man. If UConn can be scrappy and keep it close, maybe that gives Michigan a pause. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say about this game? I mean, going into it, I made a prediction to Keith. I said, no matter who wins this game, the lead's never going to get to double digits. It's going to stay in single digits the whole game. And at the start of the game, it was in double digits. Practically at the start of the game, it's double digits. Michigan's ahead. And you kept waiting for Arizona to maybe make a run. You thought, maybe just Michigan just got off to a great start. This is an outstanding Arizona team, and they were never even in the game. And I don't think it's one of these flukish things where Michigan just happened to make their shots. I think Michigan was flat out better. And watching last night's game, as good as Arizona is, you got the feeling if it was best 4 out of 7, Michigan was going to sweep. They were going to, Arizona wasn't going to beat them at all. They could play again next week, the week after. And Michigan's just flat out better. And I know the UConn mystique, how great it is, and so on. Dan Hurley, they find a way. But does it mean anything come, tomorrow night when they play Michigan? I can't see Michigan having a letdown. If we look historically at some of the great college basketball powerhouses that got upset in the NCAA championship game, we can understand them having a letdown. For example, Georgetown and Villanova. Georgetown beat them twice during the regular season, and they had a letdown. The game was won for Georgetown going into it as far as their mindset. UNLV, when they lost to Duke, they annihilated Duke the year before. their mindset was these are the same Duke players will do it again. They won beating UNLV and Houston against, NC State with all their talent. But I don't think Michigan's looking at it this way against UConn because of UConn's pedigree, UConn's reputation, the Dan Hurley mystique. I think Michigan's going to be really, really, really up for this game. There's no letdown at all.
I don't want to see a close game at the end for sure. I mean, again, I don't think this will be close. I really don't. Those other games you mentioned, though, again, I don't know if they're letdowns, though, Jack. I mean, again, to me, that kind of dismisses what the team that won did. The one that was really stands out would be Houston and NC State. But Villanova, Georgetown, that was a great game plan by Raleigh Massimino that day. They held the ball, they maximized their possessions, and they missed like one shot all night.
But going into the game, there's a difference. An underdog like Villanova thinks they're going to win the game. They think they can. Maybe they think they even will. A team like Georgetown already has the game won in their mind. I mean, they just got to show up and cash the check.
You think
basically?
You are saying Michigan won't have that mindset because they should.
Oh, no, they're not going to have that mindset. They're going to be ultra confident. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But they know they have to go out and grab it because it's UConn.
Yeah.
If it was Illinois, maybe there would be a letdown. You never know, but not against UConn.
You got to remember those other teams you're talking about, except for UNLV, were very high seeds as well. Or, I think Villanova was an 8 seed. And we didn't have as many teams when NC State beat Houston, but they were like the last team in a tournament. I can see taking those teams lightly. You take a number 2 seed lightly, or even a number 3 in Illinois. I don't think Michigan does that. This team, and again, you got a coach who's won, 2 of the last 3 national championships on the other sideline. There's no way.
That's what I'm saying. That's why. Yeah. There's going to be no opening for UConn as far as Michigan being a little bit complacent. I don't think their noses are going to be up in the air because of the way they beat Arizona, the way they dominated. I think they'll be up there scrappy hard.
James finally out of the water. Thank God. Worried about you, James.
So Michigan had scored 90 points in each of their games, which is a tournament record. So that helps you a lot. And they didn't really play really good. They didn't really have a really good offensive feel in the first half, and they still dominated Arizona. I mean, they just came out there and was just like the old adage that's, stank on, you know what. And they were all over Arizona. And then in the second half, they just came alive with the threes, and they had a better shooting percentage. If you have a team like that that's already playing really good defensively, and then they start scoring, it's hard to stop teams like that.
Well, Arizona's inside game was really carried them all year. I mean, they had trouble shooting the outside, and they didn't shoot well last night from 3. Yeah. Michigan just took it away. Those big men were just tremendous on the defensive end of the floor, which started everything else.
Yeah, their big guy, he was doing all he could in that match, and they were beating them at the rim. They were taking some shots, and you got to remember, Yaksa went out in this game. He had 2 fouls, and then he got hurt. His ankle got hurt, so he went out. He was out most of the first half. I think this is a team, though, like you said, this is a 9-starter team, basically. You got everybody coming off the bench scoring. So McKinney came off the bench, and he was on fire. That dude was hitting threes. Every time he got the ball in the arc, it was good. He shot that mid-ranger. I mean, he was awesome in that game.
25 off the bench they had again last night. I talked about that in the Elite 8, that their bench play might very well be the determining factor here in the Final Four, and they showed again last night. You talked about McKinney, and Gale had some big shots as well. So, but Morrow was the best player on the floor. So when Lindenberg went out, Morrow just took over that game in my mind. UCLA might miss him, Danny.
Yeah, Morrow is like the unsung hero for the Wolverines right now.
Good morning, gentlemen. My apologies for being late. I just wanted to say that to everybody and the people out there.
Oh, you're good, brother. You're good, brother. Happy Easter to you. What was your views on this game?
Just, I would just say that Michigan just looks dominant. I was surprised by the score. I really wasn't thinking. I thought it was going to be a lot closer than this because Arizona was a pretty good team. Michigan has a lot of bigs, and so I think that's going to be a problem for UConn. But I mean, I don't want to go back, or I know you guys probably talked about the game already, but Michigan might be the problem. And then I'll be honest with you, that'd be the team that I'm probably going to choose to win.
And that will segue into the next one. Who you got on Monday? Jack, who you got Monday?
I mean, after I'm not qualified to say. Come on. I mean, I picked Arizona to beat Michigan, and Illinois to beat UConn. I shouldn't even be asked the question based on my track.
You were leaning UConn's way, though. I was surprised you didn't say UConn.
Yeah, the last minute. I mean, Keith convinced me because he was so high on Illinois all year long. He knows more about college basketball than me. So I kind of wait. He picked Illinois too over UConn. I think he picked Arizona over Michigan. I think we won what?
I picked
Michigan. Did pick Michigan? I'm sorry, my apologies.
Michigan is the fourth.
How can you not pick Michigan after last night? It's not just one game. They've been doing it all year. But I was waiting for the cracks in the armor. They haven't come in. If you forget their name is UConn, what type of chance do you really give them? Because they're UConn and they're Danny Hurley and have a reputation, some people are going to pick them. But eliminate the names and just look at the players on the court from both teams. I mean, how can you pick against Michigan?
Yeah, I would agree. And I did pick Michigan Friday, by the way. They're the fourth team I've picked to win this tournament now through the course of the last 2 weeks. So I was afraid I might have jinxed them as well. But they're not. UConn has found a way to win ugly through this whole tournament, really. They've got to shoot the ball better. I don't see them getting a lot of second chances. Caravan, as I talked about earlier, has not shot the ball well. Another one for something yesterday. Other guys have picked them up, but this team's going to need to shoot, about 60% from the field to beat this Michigan team. They don't have an answer inside, I don't think, for Mara and the other bigs.
I mean, Reeder's their only big guy. I mean, is their big impact guy,
and he's had a great tournament. He's played significantly well. So I mean, that's probably the only guy Michigan really has to worry about. But again, it's a Dan Hurley team, and they're gritty. So you never know. They'll make a run here or there if they get this. If they find a way to stay in this game in the last minute, then they got a chance to win, obviously. But that's the only way. They're not running away. They're not winning this game by 10 points, right? Last minute victory, and that's the only way they can win. I'll take Michigan in double digits in this game.
Wait. You say they're gritty, Brian. I don't understand the term. If a team dominates and they play so great, they're never gritty. But if a team isn't quite good enough to dominate and they win a lot of close games, then they're considered gritty.
I don't think
I don't go. Why isn't Michigan gritty? I don't get it.
I think they can be gritty.
They certainly played that way.
Those Georgetown teams with Ewing, there was gritty teams, but they were dominant as well.
They won a lot of close games.
You can be both.
Yeah.
Can be both, I think.
I'm just saying, well, UConn has displayed that over the course of their run, whereas Michigan really doesn't have to display that. They've been blowing teams out. So that's what I mean by gritty. They're getting. I
understand. So let's say this turns out to be a tough, close game. Are UConn's close games going to work in their favor?
Yes.
In the closing minutes of the game, as opposed to Michigan, who hasn't quite experienced it.
Yes, I think so.
We saw that versus Duke. We saw that. That was just incredible. I mean, it was a comeback too. So I mean, you really have to consider the coaching as well in this upcoming game. Dan Hurley is just a magician, and he may have something up his sleeve this time as well. Like Keith said, if the game's that close, I wouldn't be surprised if UConn could pull out a win.
I agree. Hurley's got the resume, but let's not forget Dusty May found a way to get Florida Atlantic to the Final Four 4 years ago. That's an incredible coaching job. And this one, Michigan was last in the Big Ten just 3 years ago, right, Brian? So
he's done a great job. Inept. They were definitely inept.
But I mean, let's not get this mistaken. I'm totally picking Michigan.
Yeah,
I'm just saying what could possibly occur.
And they've done this with all the talk about him being in Chapel Hill next year too. So they've had that to deal with as well through this tournament. So
Dusty Mays also. He's a very good coach too. Let's not discount that fact. I mean, I don't think we're discounting the fact, but I think that, Dan Hurley's getting a lot of credit for UConn, but Dusty Mays, he makes adjustments. He does. The adjustments he makes in game. I'm not talking about after the half. I'm talking about in game adjustments are just, sometimes are just mind blowing because, Arizona tried to trap him. Yesterday, I was like, really, what kind of weak trap are you guys setting in this? And it was just bad. I was like, this is like, we want to trap, but it's just, I like Michigan's chances in this one. Although if it's a close one, I have to agree with everybody. It's going to be in UConn's favor. Definitely going to be in UConn's favor. But they're not holding Michigan in those 67 points. That's what they were. UConn has averaged, per game this season. So they're not holding those 67. That's for sure. Yeah, Michigan's going to score, and don't let them get hot behind the arc either, because that's going to be a kiss of death for UConn if they start hitting those threes. But other than that, I see Michigan winning.
But that's their best. The best hope is for Michigan to take a lot of threes, because underneath UConn can certainly hold their own. I mean, that's their ticket to winning if it's really an inside game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing too. The Big Ten has really had a really good showing in this tournament, and I think the tides are changing with the dominance of the SEC versus the Big Ten. I don't know. There's a lot of good teams in the SEC based on combining everything together, but you got to remember the Big Ten's got a lot of combinations of schools in there too. UCLA is one, USC. You got a lot of teams that have come into the Big Ten as well. So I think that's a reliable take on that one.
I talked a couple of weeks ago, I think on the college sports huddle about who was going to be the next team to win the basketball and football championships the same year. It hasn't happened since Florida did it, I think in 2006, something like that, maybe 20 years ago. And it's only happened like 3 times in history, I think. And I think Michigan is probably the program that is best positioned to potentially do that in the near future, because the football team's not going to be that far away. Great hire with the winning team, and we know where the basketball team is, unless for some reason Dusty May thinks Chapel Hill looks better than Ann Arbor. That would be a problem in that area.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, let me just say we got the matchup we kind of wanted for tomorrow night, because if Michigan was playing Illinois, it would feel inevitable that Michigan was going to win. It doesn't quite feel inevitable. We're all picking Michigan. We all think they're going to win, but it's not quite inevitable. We have some doubt. Maybe not a lot of doubt, but some doubt. If it was Michigan against Illinois, let's say they pulled out the game against UConn yesterday, we wouldn't think Illinois would have much of a chance. I mean, we think in terms they're going to get crushed by 20 points. That would be our mindset. Look, UConn might get blown out, but going into this game, this UConn mystique, which really makes the game interesting.
7.5.
Michigan.
Spread, by the way, I was surprised I saw the spread this morning. I thought it'd be a little bit lower, but 7.5 that's a pretty good line for the final.
Against UConn.
UConn, I don't like that either, because that's almost setting you up for failure. That's what that's doing. I don't like that spread.
Believe me,
Michigan can win this game if they come out like they did against Arizona. UConn doesn't have a chance. I mean, that's really what it's going to come down to. So,
who's the spread in favor of?
Michigan, 7.5.
Michigan, I think UConn wouldn't be favored.
I just had to ask. I'm just trying to say. I'll be honest with you. I think Vegas. Well, I'm just saying. I think Vegas knows what they're talking about. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I actually favor the spread. Then I agree with you. I agree with the spread.
That's a giant. It looks so big. No, I got to take that points, and then Michigan will go out and win by 18.
Bulletin board stuff. I'm not sure whether it's overrated or not. I kind of think for the most part it is. But believe me, UConn, Dan Hurley, the players, they're aware of the point spread, and it can work both ways. I mean, some of the UConn players could think, wow, that Michigan team is so great, and they can be in awe, psychologically, or they could show a certain resolve that they're really going to bite down, that they're really angered about that point spread, and they have something to prove. It's certainly not going to help Michigan's mindset to be favored like that.
Yeah. So switching over to a final that's happening, I believe today, with the women's college basketball. South Carolina will be taking on UCLA. Who you got? Just a outlier in this whole situation. Gino came out and apologized yesterday from UConn about his actions against South Carolina. I think that was just a whole emotional thing for him, and that's the reason why that reaction was happening that way. It's not an excuse, but that happens, and he apologized for it. I mean, you can either accept it or whatever.
I'm happy he apologized, but he needed to go on camera and apologize. He can't do it to Dawn Staley in person, I'm sure, because of maybe he could have, but don't issue a statement through the sports athletic department. That's just that's a form letter, basically. He signed his name to. He's got to go. He's got to go on camera and apologize.
Wait. What do you mean go on camera?
Let me finish. Everything he did was on camera. He went in the post-game conference and really talked about how they win and lose with class. He's got the nerve to say that after the game. He did all that on camera. He should have apologized on camera as well. So now you can.
He's an arrogant guy. He's always acted in an arrogant way. I mean, his apology was a way of cutting his losses. To me, I'd accept his apology. What are we going to do? Keep hanging on this?
I'm not.
Yes.
I think it's not. I think it's classless. You can say what you want. I'll accept. I don't have to accept his apology. He didn't do anything to me.
I'm not going to. This is the reason I'm not going to accept his apology, because everything he did clearly indirectly was to the team, to the sport of basketball. But for the most part, everything was directed at Dawn. When he apologized, he didn't apologize directly to Dawn. He said the staff,
great point,
and everything else. He didn't say Dawn. So he's really just still trying to, sideswipe her a little bit because he don't like her for whatever reason. And that's fair. If you don't like somebody, you don't like somebody. But you were a jackass to a specific person.
What he bitched about was wrong. She did shake his hand before the game. There's video of it happening, for crying out loud.
Well, he said she finally did, but he said it was 3 minutes, whatever that was. Yeah.
Where's it written? Everybody knows you got to do it within 3 minutes.
But if it's before the game, why is he waiting for 3 minutes? If she's not there, he's justified in walking away.
Fair enough.
He doesn't have to wait around. He could say, I wanted to shake her hand. She wasn't there. So I can't hang around.
Clearly, there's animosity prior to that. It has to be. You just don't like each other. I mean, they played each other in the final, so I'm pretty sure this is all dragging over to now. I mean, it's what it is. I mean, I don't have a problem with you not liking your opponent. That's fair, but be respectful. That's it.
And she has the championship game to get ready for.
Yeah.
He can't be sidetracked with this nonsense, with what's going on with him. Even we always talk about, James, your main man, Isaiah, when after that Bird remark, no, they had a press conference, but Bird came to defend Isaiah, saying, look, let's forget about it. It's no big deal. But then Bird had to leave soon after. He had practice. He basically sent a message. I can't hang around for this nonsense. I just came to clear things up, and I'm getting out of here.
Forget about it.
A little bit.
Anyway, who do you guys got in this game? South Carolina, UCLA. South Carolina, of course, we already know they pretty much handed UConn a butt whooping in that game. UCLA did a pretty good job against the original number one team in the country at the beginning of the season, Texas.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I like South Carolina in this game. I think they're playing really way above the rim.
For no other reason than I'm going to root for my good friend Danny Fuller's favorite college team, I will take the UCLA Bruins. I think they got a fighter's chance here, and Carolina's not as good as they were when they did win the national championship last time, but they're obviously a good team. But I'm going to take UCLA today.
I mean, it's hard to bet against Dawn Staley. I mean, any team that beats UConn certainly has to be favored to beat UCLA. So I'll go with South Carolina.
I could see either team winning tonight, but I'm definitely going to go with South Carolina. I just think that there's a lot of bulletin board material to just win and not even give any type of credence or allow themselves to be bothered by what happened the other day.
There's another little element to what we were talking about a moment ago with Gino complaining about Dawn Staley, the calls to this and that. They're playing tonight, South Carolina. The officials are going to be conscious of that. And if some calls seem to be going South Carolina's way, it's as if Gino is lurking in the background saying, you see, I told you so. UCLA is getting screwed the way we were.
There was a lot of
that little mindset that some are going to have. And believe me, the officials are going to be aware of it, what went on. Gino's remarks.
Gino forgot all those years that the calls went his way. So
Of
maybe,
course.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. But I'm just saying that might gently factor into tonight's game.
I like Gino. I had I lost a lot of respect for Gino Friday night, quite frankly. I think it was classless. I mean, over something
That's how he's always been.
Nonsense. I'd never liked his arrogance necessarily, Jack, but I had some respect for him and what he'd done at that program. And I've lost some of that respect.
I can understand when you have an unbeaten team, and you want to have that perfect season and you get bumped in the semis and you think you're going to win the national championship. And all of a sudden your dream for that year suddenly ends. It's tough to take, especially when you have a favorite team like UConn.
It is, but then you go in a press conference afterwards and say how you expect to carry your team to carry itself a certain way, whether they win or lose, and you do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's over something so trivial as well, by the way.
No, and you say you want him to apologize to Dawn Staley.
Yeah.
Gino was apologizing over his overall conduct. Okay, that's why I said I'd accept his apology. He might still feel that way about Dawn Staley, that she was getting all the calls that someone else wouldn't be getting, but he shouldn't have complained to Dawn Staley about it. That's the thing. But it was bad. I never thought much of Gino, how he conducted himself, Danny. So this didn't shake me up to a big degree. I mean, I just think the real Gino was there for everyone to see.
Yeah, what's going on with the UConn coaches in the first place, both the women's and the men's?
Danny Hurley yesterday, he's been a bad influence.
You know what Danny Hurley did yesterday? Wait. After the game, a couple of things he did. He put his head near one of his players, and subconsciously he put his head on the shoulder near the chin. So I think that thing he did with the official, he didn't do anything conscious to try to send a message after the Duke game. That's just Danny Hurley's body language. It just looked bad. It just looked bad, but I don't think it was anything at all.
I don't even think he knew it was an official. It was a guy standing.
Yeah, it could have been you, Keith. He would have put his head right on you, and it would have looked like he was headbutting you.
Sweat all over me. He's going to have a problem, I'll tell you right now.
Well, from the college ranks to the NBA, let's congratulate the Pistons. They clinched the number one seed in the Eastern Conference with a 116-93 win over the Philadelphia 76ers last night. And we're going to get to the Philadelphia 76ers, too, and Milwaukee at the same time. This is good for the Pistons. They're doing it without Cade Cunningham. And then they've kind of done it without in and out of their star players over the course. A lot of people said, well, once Cade Cunningham was out of there, they were done. Yeah, okay, whatever. So I expect them to do well in the playoffs. I still think there's even any Eastern Conference champion, whether it be the Pistons or Boston, that's kind of who I'm picking between. They're not going to beat the Western Conference. I'm just I just can't pick the Eastern Conference to beat the Western Conference in this particular situation. Not this year, but well, it's good that they clinched. It's good since 2007, as a matter of fact. It's the first time they've clinched.
Wow,
Brian, when is Cade expected to come back?
He's got one more week, probably Wednesday. They're going to reevaluate him again. He was evaluated on this Wednesday, and they gave him an extra week. So, of course, that takes away from the fact he can't win any awards because he hasn't played 65 games. So, it is what it is on that one.
that's an injury, though, can't they? I thought that was.
Thanks, Danny. I appreciate that.
Well, it's the rules now, Keith. They've taken out Luka Doncic. They've taken out Edwards. They've taken out a few other players that just I like the rules now. I mean, to me, it's going to stop load management. It's going to put a slight into load management.
You need to stop load management, but you can't do it in a case where the best players in the league are going to have a chance to be considered for the MVP. It'll be like the Pro Bowl pretty soon. You're going to have a guy coming off the bench that's the MVP of the league, for crying out loud.
But I think a lot of these guys are going to start playing more games now.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing because they are load.
Well, speaking of
managing,
players playing games here, Embiid and Giannis situations are getting way out of hand right now. Embiid is PO'd at 76ers because he wanted to play Wednesday against the Wizards. That didn't happen. He didn't play last night against the Pistons. So he's like, I could have played. I said I wanted to play. Giannis is on a whole different plane with Milwaukee. That's just a bad. He's gone. He's gone from that team.
Why is it? Those are different. Milwaukee wants to keep Giannis healthy because they're going to trade him in the offseason. So that's their goal. Sixers want to keep Embiid rested for the playoffs, and the Sixers have been playing really well. They've been playing really well the last few weeks.
Giannis dry snitched on his team.
He sure did.
The what?
He snitched. He sung like a canary. Usually a player, if they're going to do that, it's probably an agreement between the player and the team to not really say anything.
He's just content. The same thing. Well, you praise a guy like Max Crosby because the Raiders wouldn't let him play because he wants to play, and you'll say, "Oh, what a competitor!" and you'll be mad at the Raiders. I mean, Embiid wants to play. He doesn't want to get injured. He feels good enough to play. Let him play. You can't have it both ways. Complain about load management, and then when
I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
fighting to stay out of the play-in round of the playoffs too. They've got a chance to get to that sixth spot, and they're sitting their best player with 5 games left or whatever there is. That's just nonsense.
Load management should be something worked out between the player and the team. They talk to the player, you're a little tired, we think maybe we're going to sit you out a game. And if the player doesn't complain, you sit him out. But if the player's adamant, I really want to play, and you see he's upset about it, play him. What's the
but there's supposed to be an investigation of Milwaukee now because of this. So,
and I understand where Jack's coming from with the to sit him out because they're already eliminated from playoff contention anyway. Milwaukee is so, and he's not going to be with this team next year. It's just not.
It's got to be like that because this is contentious. This is very contentious.
Yeah, and speaking of injuries, man, the Lakers are just catching strays now. Versus Luka, now it's Reeves. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. I don't know how this is going to affect them for their playoffs.
It's going to drastically affect them because you would think that this is not a situation where you're trying to just rest your players prior to the playoffs. But I think that in the Lakers case, I mean, wouldn't LeBron be the guy you're trying to rest? I mean, so now he's got to be the player that's playing right now, because these are legit injuries. These are actual legit injuries. And so hamstring is the biggest one you got to be concerned with. The grade 2 hamstring strain on Luka Doncic, and so because he's your guy, he's your main guy. Even if they're already deficient defensively, so it's really going to be a problem. I think they might be a 1 or 2 second round exit.
One and done now.
Beating 2, they're the 3rd seed right now, but they're only a half game ahead of Denver, who's 4th. So Denver probably passes them now.
Yeah.
That would be my thought, because no Luka, no Austin Reeves in there. And there's only 5 games left to play for the Lakers, but they're only 2 games ahead of Houston. I don't know how that might wind up in a tiebreak, and that would be a 5th seed. So, I mean, there's still something at stake for the Lakers. I don't know how the seeding would directly affect them, because sometimes teams don't mind dropping down a seed or so, because it could help them in the first round matchup. So I don't know, but the way this is going to work out for LeBron now, LeBron's got to be the man for the time being. You know, I mean, what are they going to do?
A 41-year-old man who probably needs to reserve his energy, and you got your two first options are out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, don't forget who's been singing Denver's praises here and tell them to watch out. They beat Wemby and the Spurs last night. Great game out of Jokic again.
Great game.
This team is peaking at the right time.
Yep.
Yeah. And this is after Victor. He came off of 2 41-point games in a row too, and he still got 34 points. I mean, the dude. And I'm going to say this because I say this to people all the time, San Antonio fans in general. I said, you guys are cheating. Is 7'4" guy with a 10-foot wingspan. Come on, that's cheating. That is cheat. That dude. Now, being in the MVP race, do you give him any? Do you think he can win the MVP?
Well, there'll be nobody else to vote for pretty soon. So yes,
he probably can if people aren't playing and dropping like flies.
Yeah. I mean, there's still SGA is still out there, so. You know,
I think it's still SGA's to lose as long as he doesn't drop out. What are you going to say, Jack?
No, I didn't mean to cut you off with my expression. Take each guy off his team and see what happens to him. Take Wemby off San Antonio. They're going to lose more games than they win during the regular season. Okay, take SGA off OKC. They're still going to have a good team, even without him. Not a championship team, but a good team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that was a Herculean game. I agree with Danny with that last comment. 4 games matter. That was a Herculean game for Denver. I still think San Antonio is a better matchup, a better team. So and just there's just way too many players on that team, man. Now experience does matter. Experience does matter in the playoffs. I would say that they've never been there, but man,
biggest negative for the Spurs, right?
Wemby has what a lot of the greats you've seen has. I mean, he has that is a killer instinct, and he has fire, man. And so I think he'd be a great matchup. As you saw, they both were lighting it up. They both were lighting it up. It took the last minute shot who had the ball. With Jokic. And so I really think if they had to be in the series together, I would take San Antonio of the two. I still would take San Antonio. I'm going to
take Denver because as much as you're talking about Wemby and the fire, these guys know it's probably their last chance. This is probably their last chance. They're not going to get another shot at that ring, and I think that could be a determining factor in one of these big series. Any injury to one of these old guys, so it's all over. We know that too. Jokic is he's just an age.
Keith, just say this stuff. It sounds good.
What I say
to the average listener, they buy it. But come on, give me it.
What I say
on the panel. Oh, this is their last chance. Denver's putting everything they have into winning this championship. What about the other teams? They're putting everything into it the same way.
This goes to your Super Bowl window closing theory.
Yeah,
team's trying to win a Super Bowl, so nobody's Super Bowl window is closed.
The number. I'm going to tell you this: every team in the NBA this season who has a legitimate chance of winning the championship this year, their window is closing quick Because come next year, San Antonio is going to win the NBA title, and they're going to win it the year after that. And they might win it this year, San Antonio, but the window is much more open to the rest of the NBA this year of ousting San Antonio. It's not going to be that much open next year.
Listen, can I go back? Did Jack call me Shakespearean a second ago?
Yeah,
Yes.
Wow. Nobody's ever done that. That's a first for me.
It's a compliment, sir.
Yes.
yeah, kind of. It was kind of maybe, yeah. You could take it a few different ways.
I don't know how you withdraw from that whole situation.
Dude,
So for
you're going to
your-
go to your next next segue in your show, Keith, to be or not to be.
Right.
Oh, thank you, Jack.
Hey,
What
that
did
fits
you-
right in with the stream of consciousness now, doesn't it? Okay. For today's Easter viewing pleasure, you have the Suns going to play the Bulls, the Wizards playing the Nets, the Raptors playing the Celtics, the Grizzlies playing the Bucks, the Pacers playing the Cleveland team, Cavaliers, Hornets at the Timberwolves, and the Utah team is going against OKC. The Magic at the Pelicans, the Lakers at Dallas, the Clippers at Sacramento, and the Rockets at Golden State. So that'll be your slate of games for today. Moving on to the major leagues. Let me tell you something. One guy that did an absolutely great job yesterday, he robbed 3 home runs.
Oh,
3 home runs off of 3 big name players too on Seattle.
yeah.
Okay, the dude was just
He's
Joe
got-
Adele. That's
I
his
think he
name
leads
for
the
the
league. I think he leads the league in stolen home runs since like 2020 too. As well, he's done a lot of it. He's a good player on a bad team.
Yeah. He stole a home run from Cal. He stole a home run from Josh Naylor. He stole a home run from J.P. Crawford. All those guys are big hitters on that team. And the last one, the J.P. Crawford one, was just really spectacular. So, hey, kudos out to him. He won that game for him. They won 1-0, so that would have been 3-1 at least. Other than that, though, everybody's on par in the MLB. And today we have the Cardinals going against the Tigers. Oh, by the way, JV is out. That's Justin Verlander for all you. He's out with a butt hurt muscle, whatever the heck that's old age stuff.
What?
What?
Yeah.
What did you say?
He's got a hip flexor or something that's going on with him.
My butt feels fine. I don't like this.
That's not what you want to say on the live network.
Anyway, Montero is coming in for him today to pitch. That's the Cardinals-Tigers game. Cubs are going to the Guardians, the Indians. The Orioles are going to the Pirates. Padres are wrapping up their series with the Red Sox. The Marlins are wrapping up their series with the Yankees. The Dodgers and the Nationals are playing. That's like a scrimmage for the Dodgers. The Blue Jays are going to the White Sox. The Rays are taking on the Twins. The Brewers are taking on the Rockies. The Reds are taking on the Rangers. The Phillies are taking on the Rockies. The Royals, that's what I meant. Brewers over the Royals, my bad. The Mets are over the Giants. Mets are playing the Giants. The Astros are playing the Athletics. That should be that's becoming a good series there because it's a miniature battle of first place at the beginning of the season here. Seattle's taking on the Angels. The Braves are taking on Diamondbacks, and the Cubs are taking on the Guardians again. Doubleheader. So there's your games for Easter for the major leagues. As far as the NHL goes, Florida Panthers have been eliminated from playoff contention, so we will have a new Stanley Cup champion. That's sad. Not really, but it is. Anybody's got any views on that?
Well, they got the Tampa Bay Lightning in the state of Florida. They won a couple of Stanley Cups in recent years, so maybe it stays in the Sunshine State.
Well, I mean, Florida has been kind of
the Rangers beat the Red Wings yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Your Rangers beat the Red Wings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, who hasn't beat the Red Wings at this point?
So it's about the only team the Rangers have beaten a while.
You think of loyal fan bases. It goes city to city, but New York Ranger fans are incredibly loyal. They're in a rebuilding process now, but there's not that much discontent. And there's a lot of frustration in the same building at Madison Square Garden with Knicks fans, but they're tremendously loyal. I mean, they support the team to the hilt.
Hey, they won two Stanley Cups.
It's coming down to playoffs time for the. Yeah, it's coming down to playoff time for the hockey too. So all these games are getting nitty gritty. There are some hockey games as well on Easter Sunday. The aforementioned Red Wings will be taking on Minnesota. Pittsburgh is taking on Florida. Philadelphia is taking on Boston. Ottawa is taking on Carolina. New Jersey is taking on Montreal. Washington and the New York Rangers are playing. St. Louis and Colorado are playing. Colorado is just playing out of their mind right now. They lost a couple games ago for the first time in so many games too. So they're on fire. I think they really have the upper hand in winning the Stanley Cup themselves. So we'll see what happens with that. Because in Stanley Cups, it's not like a lot of teams we see in the playoffs or in any other playoff sports, because anything can happen in a 7-game series in hockey. So the puck can go a different way. You can have a bad goaltender experience, whatever may happen. So, but I think Colorado is at the top of their game. Other than that, that's the games for NHL. Anybody else have any other sporting news they would like to get out before we leave this?
No. Masters, nobody cares about the Masters here but me, but no Phil and no Tiger in the Masters this year. First time I can remember.
There was a decent heavyweight fight yesterday. Deontay Wilder won a split decision over Derek Chisora in England. And after the fight, Wilder said he didn't want to hurt Chisora. He went easy on him. It shows you the mentality of these boxers. He won a split decision in a fight that most people thought could go either way. In the fight ended, it was that close. But they gave Wilder a tiny edge, and he says he was going easy on the guy. I can't take the mentality of these fighters and these personalities. And Deontay is always a friendly guy, but he has to be delusional. You come that close.
Is he close to 40 now, Jack?
Yeah, he's 40. Chisora was like 42. Old guys, but they put on a great show, though. And Wilder showed he had a little more left in the tank than I thought. He's not the fighter he was, but he's got an incredible heart. The two of them, both of them, and they put on, a very entertaining fight. And now I think Wilder, there's a reasonable chance he might go on to fight Anthony Joshua now. Might be a viable fight that could finally be made. It was supposed to be made a lot of years ago, but Anthony Joshua, through his promoter Eddie Hearn, kind of ducked Wilder during that time. But now they might feel, he's a lot less risky. It's still a risky fight, though, that they might take.
Are we haven't hearing anything about the Pacquiao? Or not? Is it Pacquiao?
Oh, Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, signed the contract to fight Manny Pacquiao on Netflix in September, and it's supposed to be a real fight, which astonished me that Mayweather would risk his unbeaten record. But when you're short on cash, and Mayweather maybe has blown a good part of his fortune, that would bail him out that fight. So he's reportedly got a big advance on that fight. And now Mayweather's going around saying it's just an exhibition. And Pacquiao's people are furious, saying they have a contract saying it's a real fight. It's not an exhibition. Pacquiao doesn't want an exhibition match. It's a real fight. And the truth of the matter is, if it's a real fight, it's intriguing, even though they're old geezers, because Mayweather's putting his unbeaten record on the line, and the two names are magical. But if it's an exhibition, who really cares that much? Because the result won't go in the book no matter what happens. So now they're threatening to sue Mayweather in New Orleans. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
We complain about the time of those fights, Jack. If these two old guys fight, they might fight at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Wednesday. I might be able to catch this live.
Right. Jack, I got a question regarding those two. Isn't it kind of a situation where there's an asterisk for Mayweather as well because he sort of dodged Pacquiao when he was more in his prime?
Well, it was mutual. The fight got delayed by 5 years, that much, where they could have fought when they at the absolute prime, and they fought when they were little past it. It was promotional stuff. Mayweather could be stubborn. He always had alternative opponents to fight, not at the same big money, but good enough. And Pacquiao was promoted by Top Rank Bob Arum, who formerly promoted Mayweather. They had other opponents to match Pacquiao with. They finally fought after 5 years because they had no one else to fight. They ran out of options. So they finally had to fight. And it went on like at 1 a.m. it started, East Coast time. It was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And they charged like $99.99, $100 for pay-per-view. And then people would complain they were getting ripped off, this and that. But when they fought the first time, it was like they were having like a Super Bowl party type atmosphere. Saturday night, people had company over. It was more like an event in that sense. But people left all upset about it. What a lousy fight. And I said at the time, those same people are going to be back if they ever fought again. And a lot of them will be, even all these years later, as old guys.
The question I want to ask you too, Jack. So if it's a full fight, if it's an actual fight, do the contract payouts differ if it's exhibition or a real fight, or is it doesn't make
no, it won't be. Pacquiao won't fight if it's an exhibition, and Mayweather won't be given that option. If you sign the contract, it's an actual fight. Regular sanctioned fight. You can't decide it's an exhibition, that it's not for real, it's not going on the record. You can't make that decision. So it's gonna have to get resolved. Either Mayweather's gonna have to take the money and return the advance in cash he got, which I don't know, can he or will he or whatever, or has to go through with the fight as is. I don't think Mayweather's going to go through with it. He cherishes that unbeaten record too much. But this hurts Mayweather pretty badly with what's going on now, because now everyone points out and they say, you see, he's been doing that his whole career, picking his spots, not fighting the very best guys, doing everything he can just to remain unbeaten and not take risks like the other great fighters have.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that too. Yeah. On that note, thank you for everybody for joining the Sunday morning sports podcast. I am BA for Jack Hirsch, James Martin, and Keith Engel. And again, catch Keith Engel right next after this show on the Stream of Consciousness. Everybody have a great Easter Sunday. We'll see you next Sunday.
See you guys.